Alright, welcome to part 2 of the video walkthrough for King's Quest VI. Brief recap. We crash landed on the Isle of the Crown in the land of the Green Isles, looking for Princess Cosima. She is purportedly in mourning over the deaths of her parents due to a non-suspicious disease/poisoning. And the Vizier is supposed to be marrying her in the near future. So, great. So now we can't go back to the castle. So instead we're going to go over here. And over... there we go. Never mind. There's nothing over here right now. In fact, that doesn't get relevant for quite some time. So instead we're going to go this way. And head over into the business district. It's pretty much just the only two parts of this island, so let's just check them both out. There's a lamp salesman, we don't have to worry about him yet.
The battered chest does not interest Alexander. It's probably full of plain earthenware.
Alright, there's nothing in the chest. There's nothing in the pot.
Alexander
I don't
examines
think.
the large
Not
pot.
yet, anyway.
It's currently empty, but a few scraps in the bottom indicate that it is used as a dump site on occasion.
So yeah, we'll use that later. We'll go in the pawn shop.
Good day.
And we get greeted. Snag a mint.
Alexander takes a mint.
We'll need that mint later, when we get to the Isle of Wonder. And then we'll just talk to this guy.
Good day, merchant. What can you tell me about the land of the Green Isles?
I can tell you she is in a dark time. Without the ferry, communication between the islands has ground to a halt, and so nearly has my business. Why the long ages of peace have ended, and why the crown has not done something about it is beyond me. But then, I am a shopkeeper, not a politician, and can only hope for better days.
So there's that. Now if we go ahead and give him this fancy copper coin.
I have this copper coin. Is it of any value to you at all?
Most interesting. I have never seen a Daventry coin before, but it is copper genuine enough. I might even find a buyer who is interested in foreign currency. The items on the front counter are the only things in the store that I can let go for the price of 1 copper. You may make your choice from there.
Alexander looks at the items on the counter to make his selection.
Alright, so there's 4 different items. A mechanical nightingale, a flute, a paintbrush, and a tinderbox. And luckily this game pretty well compartmentalizes their uses, so you don't have to keep switching them out back and forth. It's just a minimum number of times. For now we're going to take the mockingbird.
That mechanical nightingale looks intriguing. I believe I'll take it.
Very well. Your coin is well spent. Remember, this is a pawn shop. I am always willing to take back my own goods in trade.
I'll remember. Thank you.
How convenient from an adventure game standpoint. Although as a business model that's probably not very successful. But he's got bigger problems because, as he mentioned, there's an uneasy non-peace happening. So let's continue into the bookstore.
Hello. I will be right up.
We're waiting for this old man.
Now, what can I do for you?
Let's talk to him, why not? A mysterious black-cloaked figure.
Good day, sir. I'm a stranger in this land. What can you tell me about the land of the Green Isles?
That is quite a question, young man. Who are you, and what would you have me tell you?
My name is Alexander. I know
Put the
I'm
crown
on
on
the
him.
Isle of the Crown, but I'd like to know whatever you can tell me about this island, and if there are other islands nearby.
You are indeed a stranger. Anxious is the man who knows not the customs of the land beneath his feet. This island is called the Isle of the Crown because the royal family's castle is here. Besides the castle, we also have this village and the docks over to the west. There are at least 3 other islands. The Isle of the Sacred Mountain, the Isle of the Beast, and the Isle of Wonder.
At least 3? Does no one know for certain?
This is no ordinary land, Alexander. The land of the Green Isles has always been a place of vague boundaries, as if islands come and go. Legend speaks of a 4th island, an isle shrouded in mists. I myself have never seen it. Then, too, the land of the Green Isles is said to exist on the boundaries of this world and the next. Even darker places are reputed to be closer here than anywhere else in the world.
That's quite a claim.
Claim, yes, but probably just local superstition. We who live here on the Isle of the Crown, at least, sleep well enough at night.
Those first 3 islands you mentioned, how might I learn more about them?
Ideally, a young man seeking such knowledge would travel to their shores and learn about them firsthand. Meeting the leaders of each place would be helpful, naturally. Unfortunately, the ferry no longer runs between the islands. There has been much political unrest, and it has been too dangerous to travel for years. Perhaps the ferryman can tell you more. He has little enough to do these days. And if you haven't been there already, you might seek an audience at the castle.
Thank you kindly, merchant, for all your good advice.
Ah, but advice is free, Alexander. Making use of it costs much more.
So yeah, there's political unrest among the islands. The former monarchs died under dubious circumstances. Let's go over here real quick.
Thinking of Cosima, Alexander decides to leaf through one of the volumes of love poetry. He reads, "Thy hair,
We're gonna skip
thy
the
lip,"
poetry,
not bad. And another,
because we're gonna be hearing it again
"Upon
later.
the shore the lilies," yikes. And another, "What was it when I..."
There.
What nameless
No.
thing? The name of love cannot apply.
A little close to home, that one.
Alexander returns the love poem book to the shelf.
Okay, so that's... Oh... It fell on the ground, so we can pick it up.
Alexander is not interested in those self-help
Oh, whoops.
books.
There we go.
Alexander picks up the fallen page. It's the love poem he particularly liked. It must have fallen out of the poetry book.
I see that old volume has lost another page. You may keep it if you like, sir. I have glued the stubborn thing back in place 2 times already.
I do rather like it. Thank you, merchant.
Alright, cool. And then... I don't think this book does anything.
Alexander rests his feet for a moment. Alexander picks up and leafs idly through a book called The Changing Role of Court Entertainers Through the Ages.
Nope.
Well, that was refreshing.
Okay, but I think this is... good. Right here.
Alexander picks up the book from the small table.
Oh, yes, please, take that book. You have my most humble thanks for doing so, good sir.
Really? Thanks.
So now we got all sorts of stuff. Now let's see. Yeah, this is the book that we just picked up. It's an extremely boring book and will come in handy later. I don't know if you noticed before when I went up to talk to Ali, the bookshop owner. Well, now you can see that the man in the cloak has golden eyes. And if you recall last video, during the cutscene, there was a person, an aide to the Wazir who has golden eyes as well. And it turns out that that is actually his genie. So, that's great. Now, let me see. Let's proceed along the path here. Avoid the lamp man. I don't think we have to worry about that lady yet. Let's go there.
Hey, stranger, come join me. The water is wonderful, and I can show you the way to the next island.
So, I don't know if you noticed, but that kid had gold glowing eyes, and he's trying to kill you by making you jump into the water
Come on, jump in. A little water won't hurt you.
and get sucked into the undertow. So don't fall for it. Instead, let's just knock.
What would Alexander do with that huge sheet of canvas?
I did not mean to click on the canvas. Let's click on the door.
What are you waiting for? I said I'd show you how to get to the next island, didn't I?
And there we go.
That's strange. The young boy in the water just disappeared. Oh well, perhaps he just dove under the water.
Alright, now we're going to talk to Popeye the Sailor.
Yeah, what do you want?
Oh, pretty much. Anyway, let's click on the speech bubble. Carefully position it.
Alexander
Damn it.
promises himself
If
that
you
he
click
will not
on
go home
Alexander,
until
then he
has
just talks to
determined
himself.
what Casima's Alexander.
There we go.
Excuse me. My name is Alexander. The owner of the bookshop in the village told me you might be able to help me. I hear you used to run this ferry for the islands. I'd like to talk to you if you have a moment.
You say old Allie sent you? I can't see why. The ferry's not running, you know.
I understand. I'd just like to talk to you about the islands if you don't mind.
Well, I guess it'd be all right if Allie sent you. Well, don't just stand there. Come on inside.
Huzzah.
What is it you wanted to talk about, young man?
So let's get the speech bubble on him.
I'm a visitor to these islands. I'd like to learn what I can about the area.
So you said outside. What is it you want to know?
Well, for one thing, why has the island's only ferry been dry docked?
Huh. It just ain't safe to sail these days. What with the islands feuding and all. Wazir Al-Hazred ordered the ferry closed till things settled down. Me, I don't think she'll ever see water again.
But why are the islands feuding?
You got me. Something about stolen property or some such thing. 'Tis a real shame. Things used to be so friendly.
Then this unrest is recent.
A few years is all, but it's been long enough.
Perhaps if the ferry were repaired.
This old thing? This ferry's been out of water so long she's no longer even seaworthy. Her boards have dry rot. She'd fall apart at the first taste of seawater.
But there must be some way to get off this island.
There's only one other way to travel that I know of. A magic map. The owner of the pawn shop can tell you more about that than I can, Alexander.
Alright, so I think that's about it.
Tell me more about the ferry.
I remember when I used to ferry Queen Ilaria and Princess Casima themselves. There was no thought of danger back then. They used to go visiting to care for the needy and to keep up the friendly relations between the islands. I remember their last trip. Things had started getting nasty by then, and when they came back aboard, I gathered that the Queen and the Princess had been received a bit coldly. Princess Casima was such a pretty thing, and she was terribly upset. But who could be spreading these lies, she asked the Queen, but the Queen had no answer.
Wow.
What do you do now that the ferry no longer operates?
Me? I'm out of a job. The job my ancestors have held for generations. I'm the only one trained to avoid the reef and the rocks. But that knowledge does me no good now.
Is there no other boat on the island? One that might be more seaworthy?
Boats don't last long on these shoals, as you may have found out if you got here by ship. You can be quite sure that this old ferry is, or was, the only craft on the island.
Tell me more about Princess Casima.
Ah, such a beautiful child, and so pure of heart. Why, a contrary thought has never crossed her mind. Her mother was the same. The king and queen, they served the islands, not the other way around. Always thinking about the people. Ah, they are sorely missed.
What else can you say?
What else can you tell me about the land?
Let's see. The Isle of Wonder's a lovely spot. A bit crazy, mind you. Gotta have a good sense of humor to enjoy a tour there.
He doesn't really say much more, but let's pick up this item on the table.
I see you have a rabbit's foot. Has it brought you much luck?
As you can see, my luck's been out for some time now, despite that old charm. Why don't you take it with you? Perhaps giving the darn thing away will bring me good fortune at last.
Perhaps it will at that. Thank you.
Well, that's all we need for now, so...
Well, I think I'll be going now. Thanks for allowing me into your home.
Posh, not at all. It breaks the boredom, if you know what I mean.
Thank you, Popeye. So, everything's good. Sort of running over time, so we'll just call it good for now. And next time we'll go over getting the magic map, going to the next island, and all that business. So I'll see you then.